All right, this is the drive heading into town. You see this curve right here. It used to swing pretty wide here, but right now it got over there close, but not too bad. But basically, this little narrow piece of road right here, it does a really good job of maintaining what I would consider the best speed through here. It's not too slow, it's not too fast. It does it perfectly. There's times when the guy's coming around the trailer corner there, pulling a horse trailer, something like that. You don't want to go by those guys too fast, so it slows up for the cars really nicely. It's maintaining the speed beautifully. Coming up here, everything is perfectly fine. We're all on, this is called Old Julian Road, and it's doing a pretty good job of going, or Old Julian Highway, I guess, maybe is what's supposed to be. Anyway, it's doing this road really nicely, and it comes into here. There is a slight corner up here, and it does an okay job around this corner. Maybe slows up a little bit too much, but not too bad. But then after this corner, there's going to be a exit, a left exit or whatever, a left turn lane. And what it does is it will, well, where'd that go? Where'd my left turn lane go here? There it is, right there. Yes, okay, it doesn't signal, it just stays right in this lane, which is fine. It used to signal to turn there, to turn, I would do a right turn signal to say I'm staying in this lane, but this time it didn't do that. But up here, it's actually going onto 3rd Street, even though it's the same street. There is no other way to go, but it does slow up way too much, and it signals a right turn to just continue on the same road, whatever. Now it's almost a straight shot onto Main Street. And it's going to Main Street here, and this is one of the problem corners I've had for every version of FSD Beta I've had. Earlier versions used to actually make the left turn and go into the center lane as it's supposed to, but then not leave the center lane. About a year ago, it got updated to where now it just ignores the center lane and tries to go into the very far right lane most of the time. Every once in a while, I'll take the center lane, so I give it the option to give it a try, but I'm right there to take it over when it fails, which is pretty much most of the time. The other thing it does is when it comes up here to this stop, it doesn't go up to the stop line initially. It'll actually stop on top of the hill, and then when it does go down the stop line, it goes right in the middle. It should go to the left for people who are turning left like us, and it should leave the right-hand side over there for people who are going right. But notice it goes over towards the center here, and then I'm kind of forcing it to go through, and then I take over because I want to go in the center lane. It was going to go for the far lane, and I don't like that. And so now I signal right, I go to the right lane, it's all fine. I turn it back on. I'm going about 43 miles an hour, whatever right here. I'll hit the 30 mile an hour zone sign for town, and it used to fly right by here, but now, the last couple of versions, it actually slows up pretty good, pretty quickly. As soon as it gets past that sign, it slows up, which is nice. I wish it would slow up before it got to the sign, but I'm happy with it slowing up when it gets a sign. Now, the other thing it's doing here in town, which it used not to do, which I really appreciate, is it's actually more or less staying in the lane. It used to think it had to be space between the center lane and the curb, and whenever there was parked cars there, it would have to come up and go around the parked cars. So you're driving halfway through the parked lane, or car parking lane on the right-hand side over there, and I did not appreciate that at all. But now with this version, might even been the previous version, but at least with this version, which I'm running is 2022.44.30.10 or 1069.25.2, however you want to look at it. This version is actually staying, in the lane properly and letting the parked car lane be the parked car lane. So I'm really, really happy with that. And so this is good enough. We don't have to go through the rest of my little air when I was running downtown here. We're going to come up here to this stoplight, and I'm going to just stop the video kind of right there. I'm going to flip it around coming back from that stoplight, because I'm not going to go through that same corner. We just had a problem with turning left. Well, when it turns right, it has an issue as well. And that issue, I'm actually kind of going to skip ahead when I do it, because it's just looking at the same lane, looking at it going straight down the lane and the other side, and avoiding the parked cars nicely like it should. It's staying, mainly basically straight. I'm pretty happy with that. But when it gets to that corner, it goes into a little bit too fast, and the swings wide and actually will cross over the yellow line a little bit. And when it does that, there can be cars coming the direction. You're kind of might have a conflict there. Well, in this particular case, this day when I recorded this, the other car coming the direction actually was going over that yellow line too, and he shouldn't be doing that, because he should just be coming up to the edge of it and turning left like everybody else does, like I talked about you're supposed to do. But he actually was crossing the line, so we were about ready to maybe have a little head on there. So I did take over and finish that turn myself. But See how it's not going weaving in and out of the parked cars like it used to. I mean, this is really great. I like this. I appreciate this. No weird stuff here. Just stay in the lane and drive straight down the road like a normal person would. And it's doing a great job here. Yes, it's a straight road, but it used to try to space itself between the curb, I'm telling you, and that lane. And it was not a pretty sight. Anyway, we get up here. I'm going to skip ahead now, I think, because it just comes up here to the corner. Here it is. Here it is, turning the corner. And it starts to go over that little yellow line right there. See, the guy coming the direction was actually over the line too. So I took over and basically stopped and got back on my lane and then turned it back on. Now, after that little takeover there, I'm back on autopilot. Not a big deal, or full self-driving, I should say. And notice this car up ahead here. I'm going to be following this car. I'm going to skip ahead right now because it's not really important to watch me follow this car for the next 3 miles. But note that I am following this car for the next 3 miles before this next clip comes up. And what ends up happening is he slows up to go into a neighborhood, and you can't hear it because I've turned the volume down because I was listening to music at the time. I can copyright information, all that kind of crap. But nevertheless, what happens is I get the the collisional avoidance or collision alert warning, and the thing does some heavy braking to not run into the car, I guess. But if it just wasn't following the car so freaking close, we wouldn't have a problem at all. But that's going to happen right here. Here we are coming around the little corner here, and then he slows up to go in the neighborhood, and all of a sudden beep, 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 and I come up to really slow, because this is a 50-mile-an-hour zone right here, and it had to really slow up there. They shouldn't have been following that close in the first place. It could have slowed up more normally rather than do the whole collision alert thing, but whatever. Now, the other thing it used to do here is this is a 50-mile-an-hour zone, but we're going to come around the corner up here. There's going to be a sign that says 35 zone ahead, and it always just pretty much blows out, it ignores it. And then when it hits the 35 sign, it used to just keep flying at 55 miles an hour or whatever, 50 miles an hour, past that all the way down to the yield sign. And instead now what it actually does is it's like a phantom braking event, because it slows up more than 35. It slows up to like at about 25 or 24. It slows up a lot right here. We're just about to come to the sign. There's the 35 zone sign, and all of a sudden, bingo, whoa, big brake event. And it slows up, and then it starts picking up its speed back to, 38 miles an hour, whatever like that, to continue on down to the yield sign. Not too bad. Now, when we get down to the yield sign here, when it fails in this corner, this is another left-hand turn it has to make. And it seems like it's going okay. There is a truck coming from the left. It's a long ways away. So it shouldn't have any interference with this, but the car starts turning left, and it decides maybe it wants to go and run into the curb, and then it finally finishes the turn. I don't take over, I let it do it, but you can see it as we're going on the corner. Everything is looking fine right here, and then all of a sudden decides, no, I'm going to go straight over towards the curb. Ah, wait, no, come back, over, turn left. There you go. Alrighty. I don't know what that was about, but anyway, overall, not a bad drive. I only had to take over those, a couple times. It's in a driver assist system, and I'm pretty much happy with the driver assist. Thanks for watching. Until next time.